So we have the image of the handshake. If you're in a couple, shake hands. If not, just have that image of the handshake, because I want you to understand that with a handshake, we're making a couple of agreements. We're saying that we trust. We're saying we hopefully in that handshake, we're also going to be making eye contact. We're also saying that there's a contract here, and this feels really good. So the hands fit together in a proper handshake in that sense that our energies are connecting. We connect with the eyes, we open with the heart, we have a nice flow of energy, and again, it feels good. That's the agreement. Now, what happens with relationships, we start with that handshake, and when things don't feel comfortable, I want you to see it as if, one person leans towards the other and the other person decides, okay, I'm going to give a hug. Okay, a little bit awkward. Or we say, okay, the handshake is back to back. Okay, that's not making sense either. Also a very awkward feeling. So to identify that somewhere along the lines an agreement changed. Sometimes we're aware of it, sometimes we're not aware, but the main thing is that it starts to feel uncomfortable. And how that shows up in terms of affecting our relationships is that it's cumulative. These little agreements and contracts that start to feel like awkward handshakes, right? It starts to kind of fall off. It doesn't, something is not working, not sure. It's your own decision that you decided, okay, I'm going to hug. That means that there's been maybe some growth and you didn't even realize it. Or for the other person, they think that, hey, let's high five instead. They just felt like it. And that really starts to make different aspects of our relationships feel, okay, do I still want to be here? Do I not want to be here? And it's just a matter of, as human beings, we're going to stay where we're having a nice experience. If the experience feels nice, we're going to stay there. Such as the nice handshake, the feeling, the openness, the trust. When it starts to not feel so comfortable and feel so awkward, we go towards a little bit of, we kind of go into like a cocoon, we kind of protect ourselves, right? So I want to get you to just have those two clear images, because I'm going to take those agreements over to our intimacy, passion, and commitment. And so when we go over there to the intimacy, passion, and commitment, today what I'm hoping is I want to make sure that the time we spend together, it's going to be valuable. Secondly, the things that I've learned with my clients and with myself, I believe that these, and I've seen it, I've seen that these tools have worked, and they've been able to, like right now we're putting it into the C situation, but it's beyond the C situation. These are things that I would like you to take it in and say, let me test this out and see how this helps my relationships grow and nurture and evolve. So we're not just talking from a standpoint of just couples, we want to talk from a standpoint of I'm also a parent, so my relationship with my child, the relationship we have with our coworkers, relationships we have with family and friends. So it is possible, even though the focus of today started out with just relationships, because I understand that there are also people on the call that are single. This also will help you to prepare to be in a relationship, right? And to figure out where in this triangle that I'm going to introduce to you, what are the areas that you need to work on, so that we can get to the place that you have that committed, loving, nurturing, healthy relationship, right? So that's where we're going. Another little detail I want to share is that the handshake was a symbol of peace. There's a couple of other things around the handshake, but it's coming from a place of peace, right? So I'm going to just share a little bit about me. Originally from Trinidad and Tobago, and I came here at a really young age. I was lucky enough to have a grandmother who, this is like a little interesting fact, a grandmother who decided that I have a gift. Um, she was a shaman in her lifetime. She was a shaman, and she decided that I had this gift, and she's gonna train me for a little period of time from before I even was able to understand what was happening, and she helped me to understand better energies, like how to read energies, my intuition, how to connect with what's happening with the future in terms of visions and dreams and things like that. And I've taken that background and the experience I have with clients, and I wrote a book called Creating Sacred Space, A Journey to Self-Healing and Living the Life of Your Dreams. And I take that into, I take that approach of the true self and the intuition also into the practice of how we're going to discover bettering our relationship. So we start with the individual, which is the true self, the intuition. I go a little bit even further in the book to even explain how that then helps you with relationships again, with yourself, with others, and how you can manage those types of each relationship, right? So what is love? We saw Tina Turner with what's love got to do with it. I'm approaching it from what is love. We tend to it's like a bundle of things. I remember growing up, love was just a mushed word, mushed in together. What I've discovered over the years, this is where the intimacy, passion, and commitment comes from. It's coming from a triangle that I discovered from a psychologist, and I like the viewpoint of that triangle. It goes a little bit further. His name is Dr. Sternberg. But for me, I have my own twist as a holistic health practitioner for over 2 decades. So I put my little twist on it. And I think I like the fact that intimacy, passion, and commitment becomes the formula. So what is love? We're going to work on the fact that it's the formula. It is, it's a 3, I look at it, I was thinking, it's the triangle of the three ingredients, not necessarily triangle of 3 people, like what's the thing, a love triangle, right? So we have the love triangle, but I want you to think in terms of what are these ingredients that we are going to take a closer look at, right? And so first let's start with intimacy. So when we look at intimacy, we're going to look at the fact that first there's the relationship with ourselves. Yes, intimacy, thank you. I was about to say, okay, now is a good time. So there's the triangle. We have the intimacy, and intimacy first with ourselves. The agreements we have with ourselves that feel comfortable, and the agreements we have with ourselves that do not feel comfortable. So first, intimacy, I like to take it from a standpoint of kindness and liking and affection. So when we like each other, when we like ourselves, first like ourselves, we're going to speak, our internal dialogue is going to be kind words. This is where we monitor how, if we're being too we're judging ourselves. So trying to stay away from those judgmental inner dialogues. This is not good enough. I should be doing this. I should be doing something else. This is not it's not encouraging intimacy. It's also not encouraging kindness, right? Another thing with the affection along that lines of for yourself, it also talks to the nurturing. So yesterday on the live call, we were talking about taking baths and connecting in ways that unfortunately we can't do it so much now, in terms of go get a haircut, go take care of ourselves, get a massage. But that's the kind of intimacy that we want to think of when it comes to that relationship with yourself, the triangle, that agreement. We know that we need that. When we connect in those ways, we feel better intimately. Now we go over to the couple, or if you have, again, that relationship with your children. To me, it's the taking time to hear what they have to say. If we lead with kindness, when we're about to get really pissed off and angry and about to say a couple of words that we probably can't take back, hopefully that connects. You remember, okay, wait a minute. I need to be kind here. I need to think about how am I nurturing this relationship, and how is it leading to love. And when you have small kids, it's a little bit more challenging in terms of them, how they're gonna give feedback in that moment if you're getting a bit frustrated. But it's more for you to create structure, the intimacy that needs to stay there with the discussion, with the kindness, with the affection, and remembering that agreement of the handshake. When it doesn't feel comfortable, we want to stay away from that uncomfortable, or we have to have a discussion. When we're in a couple, we need to start to look at, okay, what's happening and how come it's different in this moment, right? So when we go, the next one I want to go to is the passion. So passion, the first thing we think about passion has to be sexual. Well, I want to take it away from the sexual. Eventually, yes, within the couple, absolutely. There should already be the chemistry. If there's no chemistry, to me, I don't know how we're going to get the passion, but we need some basic stuff. With passion, when it comes to you as an individual, the first thing you think about and you look at is attractiveness. What are the things that you do for yourself? So Dr. Vibe was commenting, and I think you look great. Debbie has the nice yellow. She has the earrings. So you want to you want to look at the things that make you feel attractive as an individual, and then we switch it over to the couple and how you like. What is it that you like to see with them? Colors on them, a particular haircut, the way how they move. There's that attractiveness that happens, right? And that leads to the desire in terms of with the couple. For the families, or even for the friends, it's more the passion there is that you, it's the fact that you admire. We look at more of a quality of admiration, look at more of a quality of respect. Those are still, I really believe in those also for the relationship. But we think of, like, why do we want to talk to our best friend? Why do we want to connect with our boys, or go have a girls' night out, or just having a really good connection with a sibling? So that's where we also want to nurture the good handshake, right? Keeping that handshake, making sure that as soon as it starts to become a little bit awkward, let's address it as best as possible so that we continue to stay transparent, right? With the and I just want to stay more with the fact that I'm going to define it properly in terms of from that standpoint of the passion. You want to, from the couple standpoint, you want to make sure you check in to see where you are in terms of how attracted you are to your partner, and how attractive you are to your partner. So those are a few things that could be you would measure within conversations, because again, where are we headed? We're headed towards commitment, and then the commitment becomes the like you see in the triangle, we end up with creating love, right? And the last part of it, which is like I'm sharing with the commitment, it's the fact that we want to sustain. How do we sustain that deep, loving, lasting relationship? We always have to go back to the intimacy. The intimacy is being kind. Be kind to your partner. Be kind to your kids. Be kind to your friends. Have that affection that comes in terms of with the passion. Have that connection that comes even with the conversation and the attraction. And so those are the two. For me, intimacy and passion are really important in terms of guaranteeing, I think, guaranteeing a commitment that when things start to feel uncomfortable in terms of what we're going through right now, where there's pressure, where there is a new normal, where we're dealing with, early in the call, someone, he was sharing about his medical issues. Luckily, like, everything's okay, but they had the baby, when we have the intimacy and the passion very strong in the ingredient, we have the commitment. It's not so challenging to stay committed, and then the love evolves, and it's nurtured from there, right? Everybody's doing okay so far? So far so good? All right. So a couple of things that I think is really helpful in this moment. The first key that I want to look at is the fact that we're in our closed spaces, and we're going to play with imagination and memories. Now, primarily, this is more focused from the couple standpoint, so I'm going to share that first, and then we'll expand to kids, and we'll expand to how it works with families. So, from the couple standpoint, I want you to play with imagination and the memory. And so, one thing I've had people experiment with is that you go to separate rooms in your home, and you call each other on the phone. So you try to make sure, hopefully you can't hear each other in that moment, because what I want you to focus on is the voice of the person. Because when you first connected, and you're talking on the phone for hours and hours and hours, FaceTiming, whatever it is, it's the voice of the person. And so from the imagination standpoint, I want you to reconnect with each other's voices. So get rid of the body, get rid of the obvious things, and you start to listen more from the voice. And we have some rules of engagements here. So only discuss, if you're in a couple, you're only going to discuss the memories that are enjoyable to both of you. So we don't want to start discussing a vacation that went wrong. We don't want to discuss a date that didn't work. We want to discuss, if you choose to discuss anything in that moment, you want to talk about what makes sense, in terms of, let's play with your imagination. Let's play with a memory that, especially now when you can't go anywhere. So you can either talk about something that actually happened from the memory standpoint, or we go a little bit further and we start to talk about the fantasy, where you want to go, the shared goals, the shared experiences that you want to have. And by doing that, that also shifts you over to the commitment, which then also engages the love, right? So we want to bring in the excitement and the fun. From the standpoint of someone who's preparing to be in a couple or potential relationship, it's more the fact of, right now, the thing that is most important is preparation. So Dr. Vibe, he was talking about the fact that what could we do now in terms of our time? Learn something, do something. So the main thing is, maybe now is the time to take a closer look at who you are as a partner, ways to explore how you love, how you connect, and still looking at it, like I said, from a standpoint of imagination, and maybe going back into some memories that you had with past relationships, previous relationships, and just making a note of, like, how are you going to do it now when we're able to, or however we have to be a bit more creative now in terms of how we're going to do our dating. And then from the family standpoint, really it's the fact that I would say you go a little bit old school. I'm trying to do it with my son, but old school in the sense of you have to find board games. You have to find ways that you have to, how you would play. So this is the time to get really creative, explore some ideas together. How could you as a family play together? Because we never had this opportunity before. The kids leave, they go with their friends, or even if you played, it wasn't for an extended period of time, right? So that's how we can do that, if you're in that situation, right? But still, even with the family, still separate, and you still do the couple thing, and you still make time to deal with your triangle of taking care of yourself, right? The number two, what I would like to talk about is, let's explore the senses, like how we can, and specifically touch, things that are tactile. This might be easier for families in terms of baking. I don't want to say baking, cooking together. Anything that actually includes some type of touch. I would say you get a little bit creative. The mushing around with little kids is easy because you can give them fruits and they can start crushing it and things like that. But from the standpoint of a couple, maybe you've never cooked together. This would be a moment to try cooking together. Something that includes touch, tactile, open up the senses. Maybe you can go towards learning how to massage, right? Massaging the feet, the hands, like something that without going all the way over to the passion. I just want you to just connect with those senses and really stay there, because the more that we play with the imagination, the more that we play with the memory and the potential of intimacy, the more that builds your desire for each other from the couple standpoint. When you have the family and we're engaging in that way, and we're having those fun experiences that relate to the handshake that feels good. So we're playing a game, that helps with the connectedness. It strengthens the bond of the family. In terms of, again, with the individual, what are the things? Well, you might have to stay more on the side of nurturing and affection. So you might have to explore giving yourself sugar and salt scrubs, or something along the lines. Again, really connecting with the senses. And the overall thing right now is with this, with the isolation, is finding ways to make it fun. And the place to help make it fun is to stay in your imagination. Play around with whatever you can find. So this could be a little bit of a game for each of you to figure out, what can we do with what we have, right? So as Black people, we're good with that. we're very good at being creative with what we have, right? So I'm just leaving that there. And then the third part of it is this playfulness, because I like this theme of imagination and playing around. So playfulness is this. Let's get dressed up. When I say dressed up, I never played dress up as a child, but I like the concept from the standpoint of an adult. So when I say let's play dress up, from the couple standpoint, it's the fact that if you have been sitting around in the robe and the track pants and all that, put it aside. Time to put on an attractive shirt, a t-shirt, a pair of tights. First, from the individual standpoint, you're going to put yourself together in a way that makes you feel attractive, right? The more attractive you feel, the more you're able to, I'm going to say that sense of confidence, because the pheromones, confidence is a really natural pheromone. If we're moving in a confident way, we start to look pretty attractive to our partners, right? So we can put on colors that make us feel really connected to who we are, and also to we're dressing up. It's not really about doing too much. It's just not having your pajamas on all day long, or not, but put yourself together in a way that you like how you look, and that also changes the energy between yourself and your partner. You can also suggest what you'd like for your partner to put on. Thanks. I just got a thumbs up. And also, I like the fact that, or you take it to the fact that what you'd like your partner to wear, right? When it's one of those things where we're under a microscope right now. Our relationship with ourselves, relationships with each other. And so this is also a time that you can say, well, what would you like to see me wearing? Again, be playful. This is a playful exercise. What would you like to see me put on? What would you like to see me in? What would you, because we trigger the imagination, we trigger the pheromones of confidence, and we trigger the passion. It wakes up, it reawakens the desire. Just like Debbie was sharing, where it's like when we activate, right? So this is a way how we are activating that imagination that we don't usually think about. We don't, we're too busy. We're commuting. We're focused on work-related things. We're distracted even with our kids having to go to school and things like that, right? So now we're getting a chance to play. So let's activate our imaginations, because as adults, we don't get time to play. We don't have that opportunity, right? So let's use this as a time to play. So the clothing, we start with the clothing. We can go a little bit further from the couple standpoint. Yes, put on the lingerie if you have. If you don't, okay, go online, order something, play around. Even to go and look online to explore with each other. Just watching lingerie. Okay, what do you think? Is this for both sides, right? Again, be playful. This is very outside of our comfort zone. This is not a typical thing for us, but I'm just saying this would be a good moment to do that. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's why I was sharing. Oh, sorry. That's why I was sharing that first we want to, and thank you for even just sharing that standpoint, because I think first we really want to develop the intimacy and the passion within ourselves. So once we start to understand that first triangle is key. So right now, if it feels like you move from one person to the next, not because you're not able to sort it all out. It's the fact that now you're getting a structure. What are you supposed to work with within the intimacy, kindness, the passion, the desire, the attraction, and how that leads you to commitment. So your love is active, right? So it's great when you start to. The point of this is really to identify what's the area you need to work on. So even though it plays out and it shows up as commitment, you'd have to take a step back and start to look at understanding intimacy, kindness within yourself, understanding the passion, and then moving over to the commitment. So it takes a little bit of just I guess taking time. Just allow the time. Mm-hmm. So it's back to, well, it's still the intimacy. Sorry, it's still the triangle with yourself. So that intimacy and passion, those are the things we have to get a little bit creative. What I was sharing in terms of, excuse me, with the imagination, because really that's where everything leads to in terms of the love. So without getting into too much details with that, it's still going to be the intimacy within how you take care of yourself, whether it leads to the nurturing, whether it leads to, but making sure that those needs are being met, and acknowledging that there's still passion and desire regardless of having medical issues, or regardless of so it isn't again, it's important, it's still there. This is not to censor so much, but this is family friendly. But I'm just saying in terms of the fact that the transparency and the honesty within yourself is really important to acknowledge. Those needs need to be met, right? So it's not the last thing that or the thing that I do not want, and I'm encouraging, is not to suppress. It's not to pretend it doesn't exist. It's not to, and again, going back to, which is so nice that Debbie's actually here, we're activating these areas, the lower part of the core, activating that energy that we tend to suppress. We do. We get stressed. We deny it. We say it doesn't exist. And this is the moment or the beginning of really seeing that it's there, and it's important for us to find ways to release, to really connect, and to make sure that we're taking care of our needs as individuals and as couples, right? So I'm gonna let me wrap up the talk, because we started the question and answer sooner than I was planning. Is that good, Dr. Vibe? I want to say, and just to add with the sense of like the holding hands, the sitting close to each other, reading a book, somebody else doing something else. So there's intimacy. I really do like it as the place to start in terms of subtle gestures, things that aren't so obvious, but you're in each other's space. Or again, if you're working on the potential relationship that you want to be in, it's really important to develop that kindness and that affection towards yourself, so that you can then share it with the partner that you're teaching them what you like to have in your environment. So we need to practice it first in order that we can be examples to the potential partner, right? So just to wrap it up, what is love? I think the answer is that these three ingredients, that love is the verb. So we want to work actively on the intimacy, we want to work on the passion, and we want to work on the commitment, and having all of those three things engaged as often as possible, finding as many connections with your life, with your relationship with yourself, with your partner, with the relationship with your kids. Those are all keep those three ingredients in mind, keep them active, because that's the love that's being developed. That's what's going to create the sustainability of the love for the long haul. That's what keeps us nice and connected, and also helping us to deal with the different stressors that are going to come up. So the stronger that we're actively involved in those three areas, the better it is for us to manage times like these, like dealing with the C word, as we say. And also to be able to face the different stressors together. So we stand with each other, we're by each other's side, and we're able to maintain it, because the background is that our intimacy, passion, and commitment is holding us up. So we can use love as a template that we start to how we're dealing with different things that are happening. I'll tell you, my internet, can you hear me? My internet's unstable. Is it okay? You can hear me. Okay. All right. And so that's officially ending the talk. I'm just gonna do a quick thing. So my website is wellness2go.ca. You can wellness2go TOGO.ca, and you can find my book on the website, Creating Sacred Space, A Journey to Self-Healing and Living the Life of Your Dreams. I have a 12-week Sacred Space Relationship First Aid Program. There's the image, Dr. Vibe just put it up there. That information is also on my website. I also have a Sacred Space, the meditation. So I have that. You can find that on the website. You can also find me on Facebook, which is Ingrid Herbert and Wellness2Go. And what I'd like to offer today is a complimentary gift to everyone. So we're adding the link. It's called 7-Day Joy Reset. So just showing the image. Do you have the image? 7-day. Just a second. Okay, and then Dr. Vibe is going to put the link in the message, so you can download that free gift. Usually my clients, we go through a little bit of a process with that, but I want to just offer that as freely to everyone today. So thank you for having me, and we can go back to the question and answer. So.